Hey there, how's everybody doing? Hope you're healthy and doing great. We're doing fantastic here in Abilene, and am missing you guys quite a bit. I wish we could all be in the same room together as we talk about this particular subject. I did want to give you a picture of me just in case you need to refer back to that throughout our presentation today. I'm going to actually split this presentation into two different clips, and that way you can take a break in between if you get bored in that. Anyway, we're going to talk about pornography and some of the things that we need to think through as Christians, and especially with adolescents, looking at that and viewing pornography and how it changes attitudes and shapes behavior across time. Just about every aspect of advertising has at one point or another done something regarding sexuality. This obviously is a brand that a lot of students like to wear or advertise to. You see this particular picture, I call it the Plumbers Convention, seeing a lot of crack here. But there's a lot of subtleties about the picture, and you've got a girl on the far left that you can't see if she's actually wearing clothes or not, with three guys that seem to be taking their jeans off. You don't know if they're coming from somewhere else or going towards something, but it's just one of those things that grabs everyone's attention, and it is kind of on the slightly edgy side. I always find it interesting that Abercrombie and Fitch, which is supposed to be a clothing store, tends not to wear many clothes in their ads. Then we have some other things that are a little more graphic. You have this incredibly suggestive set of text beside someone who's wearing basically shaving cream on her body, and is seen as something that's just a normal part of our advertising world. And then because of some of these things, it has seemed to change our mind. We even have companies that try to act like pornography is no big deal. Love this little clip of a really cool girlfriend who throws away the old magazines and gets her boyfriend new ones, and that's of course the lovely Axe effect. And you see kind of an attitude that hey, that's not a bad thing. That girls should really be into this too. So you start to see the culture is changing its view of pornography. So from your book, Greek word for pornography is porne, which means female captive or prostitute. Neither one of those sound very good, do they? Uh, the industry itself is a 12 to 14 billion dollar industry, larger than ABC, CBS, NBC combined. When you look at those numbers, and I know that kind of boggles your mind, you can't even think about what does $12 billion look like. Just remember, these are not just a small group of men who are perverts in America. These are your brothers, your fathers, your mothers, your aunts, your uncles. Everyone is producing this type of pornography in order to make money. That's what drives pornography. It's not trying to be enlightened or anything else. They just want to make money. And well, it's working, uh, at least thus far. We even see that 1 in 6 pastors struggle with pornography as a temptation for them, and it seems to be one of those things that pastors are drawn to. And I'll tell you why that is true here in a little bit. Some other factors are men are the primary users of porn. Women tend not to use it as much as men, but women are beginning to show some increased levels. There's this new phenomenon in the porn industry because for the last year or two, the porn industry has actually started to lose some of that incredible growth that they've had, the 12 to 14 billion dollars. So all of a sudden, they realized they were struggling and going backwards a little bit because there is so much free pornography on the internet, they don't have to buy it. So they've had to reach out and grab another group of people. Instead of going after just men, they're going after women. and they're actually hiring female women to produce pornography that connects with a woman's mind, not a man's mind as much. And they've actually tried to increase their market share by marketing to women now. So that's a new phenomenon to be looking at in order to keep those numbers of dollars coming. Kids are exposed to porn on the average around 11 years of age. You probably have some of your experiences here in class that you were exposed to that. Some of you a little before, some of you a little after. And kids on average view about 1,400 hours of porn sex before they would actually have sex with someone at 16 or 17 years old, depending on if they're guys or girls. So they're getting a pretty good picture of what they think is legitimate, authentic sex from pornography. Obviously, that is not true. There's some themes in pornography that are very different. If sex with two people is good, then 3, 4, 5, 6 people all having sex at the same time is a better idea and a more intense sexuality. There's that violence that goes with sex that they think is normal. They have some women who are saying no, no, no at the beginning of a scene, and they wind up saying yes, yes, yes at the end of the scene. And young boys and girls sometimes think, oh, that's normal in that. So those are just a few ththings to think through. One of the interesting things is, are students embarrassed by viewing porn? They did some research back in 2010 that 36 of male students saw nothing wrong with viewing it, and 26% of female students see nothing wrong with it. I don't have the more recent study. I've read a few of them that show that number percentage-wise is growing, that a lot more kids do not think there's anything wrong viewing pornography. Interesting question. The state with the highest rate of porn usage per capita. So any quick guesses? I'll give you about 3 seconds to think and make your guess. Is this surprising to you? Utah. And you're thinking Mormons, and you're thinking about strong families and people who are very devout. These are people who go off on 2-year mission efforts halfway through their college years, who eventually get married. You also have kids who get up before school starts and have Bible studies first thing in the morning before they go to school even. So it's just an interesting little tidbit that the researchers have looked into. And regarding church, a little thing that I think was kind of interesting, that church viewers view less porn on Sundays. Isn't that beautiful? So sweet, so neat. From your book, you saw that they try to draw a line between pornography and erotica. And they would say porn tends to degrade or dehumanizes another human, and typically is the women. And then erotica celebrates the beauty of sex, and it's not necessarily married sex, but it's saying that sex is a beautiful creation of God at some level, and it doesn't demean or dehumanize anyone. You may have been in an art museum from time to time and see some pictures that are pretty graphic. You might have something like this that you see and see that they're not wearing many clothes, or you may see genitals in the art museum, and that's not intended to sexually excite anyone, yet celebrates the human body as a beautiful thing. Or you may have seen something like this in a museum that once again is not designed to degrade women as much as celebrate the beauty of women in this particular one. All that to say, one of the things that we're after in this discussion is to see that our culture is trying to convince us pornography might be seen as beautiful, but when you look at the product of what most pornographers are going after, they tend to dehumanize and degrade, especially the women in this, and it I think there's a tough distinction that has to be drawn. Erotica could be seen as sexually stimulating to people, but for the most part, you see the intent is a little different than pornography. Okay, I'm going to wrap up this first part, let you take a break, and then we'll go into the second half.